Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. وبعد, I praise Allah the Almighty alone, and I send the best peace and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear viewers everywhere, welcome to a new edition of your program, Ask Huda. We still have the same numbers, beginning with area codes for your contact informations. 002 01 00 246 4583, alternatively 002 area code 011 25 008679, and the email addresses are ask@huda.tv, alternatively gardens@huda.tv. We have a few pending questions and concerns, and also be more than happy to start taking your phone calls and questions as soon as you start ringing in, inshallah azza wa jal. Sister Maryam from Nigeria, last episode, inquired about studying Western laws instead of Islamic law. And she has another question, but that was her first question. We need to ask, what is the purpose of studying the Western law to begin with? For instance, if somebody has studied Islamic law and is studying a Western law or whatever man-made law in order to hold a comparison and shed light on the virtues of the divine law versus other laws, that is permissible. Also, if some people living in a non-Muslim community, they are in need for somebody to defend them, if this is the reason, that is also permissible. But those who choose from the beginning to study an international law and waste their time in studying something which is not just secular, but basically of no use whatsoever, they would not benefit the ummah with. You have to understand that our lifespan is very short and it is very brief, and it is not wise at all to waste the few years that we live in studying something which would not benefit us. If I have the choice between studying something not just religious, but even of the dunya sciences, then I must choose something which will be beneficial for myself and for the ummah at large. As far as religious knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives precedence to those who learn about Him, study various sciences of the deen. He said, عز وجل, يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. So Allah raises into higher ranks the believers, and those who have a higher degree of knowledge are higher than others, as long as they practice what they have learned. In another rhetoric question, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِ الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, which means, say, are they even, those who know and those who do not know? And the answer is typical, of course not. Rather, those who know about Allah, those who made an effort to study the deen and the law, the Islamic Sharia, the Quran and the Sunnah, are into higher degrees than those who do not know. Also, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of all of you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it to others. So the priority is for this. I discussed with you before an incident where a doctor, big-time doctor, in a halqa where it was in Hajj, everybody was reading Quran, it was his turn. The very first surah after Surah Al-Fatiha, the very first ayah, he could not read it. He started saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alam, which seems that the person did not even come across the Quran before at all. Doesn't know the difference between Alif, Lam, Mim, and Alam. Did not have a chance. So some people get sucked in studying the sciences of the dunya. We say that Islam requires Muslims to learn not just the religious knowledge and sciences, but also the worldly sciences, the applied sciences, engineering, chemistry, law, and everything. But keep balance. And also, whenever I decide to study something, I have to understand, why am I studying this? What is the purpose? Some people go to study fine art. Fine art where they sit before nude models to draw and to paint. They think this is science, this is art, this is the kind of art which will take you to hell. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. Choose for yourself what is beneficial. For yourself, number one, then it must be in its benefit extended to others. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Amn from the KSA.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm sorry I can't hear you to the phone, but I'll just ask my question.
Go ahead, I hear you.
First, I just want to say that you are all constantly in our du'as, and may Allah protect you and give us from harm and give you relief from this terrible oppression.
Ameen.
I have 3 questions.
No.
My first 2 questions are about the Hajj. Is it permissible for a woman to go for Hajj without a mahram if it is her obligatory Hajj, and she has all the means to go, but she does not have a mahram to go with her? And my second question is, it's also related to Hajj. I was planning to go for Umrah maybe this week or next week, inshallah, but I heard someone say that it is not permissible to go for Umrah just a short time before going for Hajj. I don't know if that's true, so could you please tell me if it's true or not? And my third question is, actually this is a question that I asked a few months ago, and I'm sorry I missed the answer because it was a pending question and I missed the next episode. We don't celebrate birthdays, but some of our friends and relatives who do, sometimes they expect to hear something on their birthdays, like a greeting or something. So I just wanted to know, is it permissible to just say happy birthday to someone, or is it not? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Amn. Barakallahu fiki. Sister Muhammad from United Arab Emirates.
Hello.
Go ahead, Muhammad, I hear you.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa
Sheikh, really,
rahmatullahi wa
I'm
barakatuh.
really happy to see this Huda channel because you are calling people, inviting, mashallah, mashallah. It is really nice. And also, I have a question, Sheikh. My brother-in-law has died 3 days before, and before he died, he asked me some money. And I couldn't send the money because I thought he's asking the money, he is having some bad habit that he is praying like an old face like that. So I thought he's asking money for this gambling. I didn't send the money. And now after 3 days, he died. And then he sent me the message and keep your money for your medicine. And I really feel bad that he died. And can you please tell me, Sheikh, what I have to do? I have to send the money to my sister, or if I do something for that money, because I'm really feeling bad also.
Yeah, okay.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister
Thank you very
Muhammad.
much.
Barakallahu feek. Barakallahu feek. Sister Fatima from Nigeria, her question last episode was, please advise us concerning the problems which are going on in the Muslim world and what should we do. And also there was another question in addition to a question with regards to some writers who are saying that there is a state of confusion, we don't know, and these guys were not really seeking an Islamic guidance, or they threw themselves in harm's way and they killed themselves or whatever. And I promise I like to document my statement with references, and this is how we learn from the Prophet ﷺ. So I just pulled out an interview in the Washington Post with the general who is the head of the military coup. As after the military coup, he was interviewed and he was trying to make the West sympathize with the coup and agree to it, and we all personally believe that it was all pre-planned and masterminded by them. It's all a game. But in any case, this is what he said. Number one, he said that these guys And I'm not going to use the term Muslim Brotherhood or whatever, because basically it is not limited to certain group or party. This is a vast majority of people who choose a certain path or a certain leader, and they voted for that. So they say that these guys are more devoted to their Islamic beliefs than they are to the country. So this is an allegation. That was their accusation, because these guys, the former regime, the officially, legitimately elected, are more devoted to their Islamic belief. That's why they've done the military coup to liberate people from the Islamic belief. The idea that gathers them together is not nationalism, is not the sense of country, rather it is their Islamic belief. Also in the same interview, and you can go to the Washington Post and read on your own, he said basically their ideology is based on restoring the Islamic religious empire. So this is the accusation, which means if the Prophet ﷺ was alive today, they would have arrested him with the same allegation, because this is what the Prophet ﷺ wanted to make, to build a Muslim state. Is it something bad for all Muslim countries to be united and to be the United States of the Muslim Ummah? That's why you've done the coup and you got rid of the elected regime. This is basically their statement. So to us, it is not vague. It is not unclear what is going on. Rather, it is very obvious and clear. And people who bury their heads in the sand and act like deaf, dumb and blind, they can simply bother to look into some videos on the YouTube and see the massacres and the inhumane way of dealing with people who are university professors, doctors, huffaz, men, women and children, elders, no exception whatsoever. So when you see that maybe your heart will have some mercy, then also when you read in depth and when you just avoid watching these secular channels which tend to manipulate the minds of the viewers by our own money, then you will be fair-minded and you will be able to decide. Based on what? Based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran. You know, after reading this interview, and right away what crosses my mind is when the Pharaoh said to his people whom he was oppressing, he was actually crushing, he was humiliating and enslaving. Then when Musa alayhi salam came to rescue them and to make them free and to make them human beings, what did the Pharaoh say? The Pharaoh said, look at the accusation that they posed at Musa alayhi salam. إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُبَدِّلَ دِينَكُمْ أَوْ أَن يُظْهِرَ فِي الْأَرْضِ الْفَسَادِ. The Pharaoh said, I have to get rid of Musa. Why? Because I'm afraid that he's going to change your faith, your ideology. So what was the ideology of the people at this time? They were enslaved. They were treated worse than animals. They allowed the Pharaoh, a human being, to kill their sons and spare their daughters, just to save the life of one person, which is the Pharaoh. Not only that, he said, إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُبَدِّلَ دِينَكُمْ أَوْ أَن يُظْهِرَ فِي الْأَرْضِ الْفَسَادِ. I'm afraid that Musa is going to spread corruption and mischief on earth. Musa, Prophet Musa, is going to spread mischief and corruption on earth. Was Musa alayhi salam a terrorist? Well, in their view, yes, he was a terrorist. Was Isa alayhi salam a terrorist? They said the same. They labeled Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam with the same. Insane, soothsayer, magician, a terrorist, you name it. He's looking for power. Then in another very interesting and laughable statement, they said, well, the Islamists have utilized democracy in order to get to the rulership, in order to take the office of the leadership. Well, I thought this is what you guys have been talking about forever. You have to play according to the rules, votes, and democracy. This is what you guys say. We believe in the shura rather. But you said play it this way. Okay, and the vast majority of people chose them to be leaders. So what's wrong with that? Well, I still don't understand. But the puzzling question is that how come many people still do not understand what's going on? In this ayah which I quoted, that the Pharaoh have used this false allegation which nobody believed in order to legitimize assassinating Musa alayhi salam. If he was able to, indeed he did try. وقال فرعون ذروني أقتل موسى وليدعو ربه إني أخاف أن يبدل دينكم أو أن يظهر في الأرض الفساد. The Pharaoh said to his people, Subhanallah, a man who came as a messenger from God in an attempt to rescue people, save them, give them freedom, make them the leaders on earth. And the Pharaoh is enslaving them. So the Pharaoh is brainwashing the people using the media, using Haman, using the wealth of Qarun, and the evil advices of Haman, his advisors, and saying, he said to his people, give me the power of attorney. Just allow me to kill Musa. Let me ask you one question, Pharaoh. When did you ever sought permission from people to kill? You've been killing forever. You've been killing people right and left. And these peoples are shutting their mouth up and they're allowing you to kill them and their children. They never objected. So out of the blue you become so democratic and so nice and consulting them and asking their permission, please give me the power of attorney, allow me to kill Musa. Okay, go ahead and kill Musa. Show us. Why don't you kill Musa? He said to Haman, ابن لي صرحا لعلي أبلغ الأسباب. I want you to build a high tower for me so that I can go upstairs. Where? To the heaven. I want to take care of Musa's God. You couldn't take care of Musa. You're going to take care of Musa's God. But because of vast majority of common folk are ignorant and like to be deceived, they allowed themselves to be deceived. They sat before the screens like idiots and they believed the unbelievable. But they nod their heads in an agreement. Yeah. So what happened is Haman built a tower and the Pharaoh climbed a few stairs and with a bow and arrow he shot an arrow and the arrow returned back with blood and he said, oh thank God. He's thanking himself because he said, I'm God. It's okay, don't worry about it. I took care of terrorism for good. I killed Musa's God. I told you, it's all in the Quran and it is so repetitive. You want to realize what is going on? Look in your science book of fourth graders. See how small, little tiny our Earth planet compared to the rest of galaxies and planets. Subhanallah, it's like a dot in an ocean. So the 7-8 billion human beings living like in a dot in an ocean, yeah, you're just some of the creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it was not too much for Allah to know exactly what is going on, what happened, and what is happening, and what will happen in the future. And thank God, there is the Day of Judgment. يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Maria from Cyprus. Sister Maria, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Thank you for waiting for so long. I apologize.
It's okay, Sheikh, no problem.
Go ahead.
Sheikh, first of all, I would like to apologize because I sent the same question via email, but because I was not able to watch the program for some days, I don't know if you already answered, so may I ask again?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I made an oath to Allah that I will fast for after some trouble I had. I made this oath that I will fast for 1 month. But the problem is now that I don't remember if I said it in my oath that I will fast 1 month continuously or with breaks. So what should I do, sister, brother?
And my other question is, there is this we do say after prayer or in some time of the day, this Subhanallah wa bihamdi, and we have to say it 100 times. It's good if you say it 100 times. So my question is, do I say this 100 times in a row, or it's okay if I say 50 times in the morning and 50 times on the night time?
Okay. Thank you, Sister Maria. Barakallahu feek.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome. Inshallah, we'll answer you again. The first question, I believe, was answered, but we'll answer again, inshallah. Is it permissible for a woman to perform Hajj without a male mahram of her or without her husband, Mu'min from the KSA? Vast majority of the scholars, no, it is not permissible for a woman to travel even for Hajj without a male mahram. Some scholars said if it is Hajjatul Islam, the very first Hajj, and she has a safe company, then it is permissible. Performing Umrah a few days before Hajj, she said that some people say you can't perform Umrah if it is so close to Hajj. No, in fact, you can always perform Umrah on any time, day or night, as long as you want. Wishing a happy birthday. Again, the celebration, we agreed, is something which is a Christian habit. It is not something that we recognize in our Muslim tradition. And also Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who was the greatest man ever, and his birth is most definitely was the greatest birth and the greatest event in history, never did celebrate his birthday, nor allowed any of his companions to do so, nor even commemorating that on the date of birth by giving congratulations or so. I doubt that it is the same as bad as throwing a party and celebrating in the same fashion as the Christian tradition, but I would rather avoid it. Sister Muhammad from United Arab Emirates, her brother just passed away 3 days ago. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him. I ask Allah the Almighty to forgive him his sins and to have mercy on him and all our Muslim brothers and sisters who passed away. Allahumma ameen. What happened is that he sought a loan from her before his death, and she was reluctant to send him the money because of some bad habits. I'm glad that you don't have to mention this. According to your assumption at this time, he did not want to assist him in doing something which you thought it is bad. So you're not blameworthy. And you should not feel guilty for not doing so. Death is something which no one can predict. And not because I'm afraid that what if I don't give him the money and if he dies afterward, قدر الله ما شاء فعل. This is Allah's decree. But my best judgment at this time that if I give him the money or if I give her the money, they're going to use it in something bad. Then I shouldn't be assisting them in achieving what is bad. And meanwhile now, you can definitely benefit him with something greater than giving him the money in his life. Give the money in a charity and donate the reward to your brother. Do something as a continuous charity, a water fountain, participate in building a masjid, a school, an orphanage, something of this nature in his name from your money. So this is how you really benefit him, and I believe if he was still alive, he would ask you to do the same after he has seen what will be more beneficial for him. Do not feel sorry, just pray for him and try to give in a charity in his state. Sister Maria from Cyprus, she vowed if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will spare her, save her from a certain situation, she would fast for a whole month, yet she doesn't remember whether she said consecutively or just 1 month, 30 days. Number one, we said it is not advised to do such nadhr or vow, because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said such vow would not change the decree. Rather, إِنَّمَا يُسْتَخْرَجُ بِهِ مِنَ الْبَخِيلِ. There are some people who normally do not do good, do not give in a charity, unless if they're squeezed with a tough situation, with a calamity or adversity. So they say, oh, okay, I will pray at night, or I will give in a charity, I will slaughter a cow, I will distribute upon the poor. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not change His decree simply because of your promise or because of your vow. Whatever is going to happen is definitely going to happen according to His blueprint, or what we call it, al-qada wal-qadar, the preordainment, the predestiny. So in this case, the best is to give a general nadhr, general vow, like Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with so many things. I like to fast for a whole week or a whole month. Ya Allah, it is due upon me to fast for you for a whole month. Fasting at any say time is voluntary. When you make a vow, it becomes a fard, it becomes obligatory. So I can simply fast without committing myself to fasting, yeah? But once you said, لِلَّهِ عَلَيَّ صَوْمُ شَهْرٍ, I owe Allah to fast for a whole month, then you must fast. You don't remember the details of your vow, whether you say it consecutively or, okay. So this is an extra requirement to fast in a row. So if you do not remember stating so, then you're exempt from this commitment. So what you just need to do is to fast for a whole month, 30 days or 29 days, and it doesn't have to be consecutive as long as you do not remember for sure making that statement. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, Subhanallah al-Azim is one of the most marvelous supplications. Sister Maria from Cyprus is asking, 100 times, can I split them 50 in the morning and 50 in the evening? Guess what? The 100 times at least in the morning and similar to that in the evening as well. If you are interested in entering the competition, because in the hadith Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever makes this statement 100 times in the morning and likewise in the evening, no one shall come on the day of judgment with better deeds than him or her, except somebody who did like them or extra. So the 100 time is the least. You're going to make 150, 200, fine. Okay? Somebody did not have a chance to make 100 times, even 10 times, as much as you can. But the adhkar of the morning and the adhkar of the evening is the shelter of the believer. Last night I went to buy bread. So the girl who was still in the bed said, she complained to me that she sees nightmares and she doesn't sleep comfortably. First question I asked her, do you pray? She said, Yani, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, on and off. I said, and you saying Alhamdulillah, it's like you're doing Allah a favor. You're very happy that you're praying on and off. So she replied to me saying, well, at least better than nothing. So I asked her, how many trays of bread do you take every hour, every day? What if you do not fulfill the task? Would you get paid? She said, no. I said, so why do you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you the happiest person, to sleep well and to live well, and you're not even fulfilling the basic requirement, which is as-salah? This adhkar, along with fulfilling the obligations, would make the person the happiest person even in the midst of the greatest calamity. إِنَّ جَنَّتِي وَبُسْتَانِي فِي صَدْرِي. I will comment on that after a short break, inshallah. Please stay tuned.
To Medina, our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions faced lots of troubles and difficulties and enmities and obstacles in the way to Medina before the hijrah to Medina from Mecca. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assisted his beloved Prophet and supported him in order to complete his mission and to immigrate to Medina. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us this great Prophet and his companions. Now the question, why the immigration to Medina, the hijrah of Rasulullah and his companions, was a turning point in the history of hijrah, in the history of Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, what are the sacrifices that the Prophet Muhammad has faced with his companions? Some of these difficulties, inshallah, we will learn together and we will focus in some lessons. What are the lessons that we take from these incidents, inshallah, in our program, Road to Medina? My dear brothers, stay tuned with us, inshallah, in this great event of Hijrah. We will, inshallah, focus on some of the lessons in this program, Road to Medina. May Allah make it easy for us and accept our good deeds and gather us with our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Jannah. Ameen.
Salah is a beautiful recipe for happiness in this life and the next. But if you don't have the right ingredients for it, the meal won't be so delicious.
You look for that taste, but you can't find the same taste. You can't find that same sweetness because you're missing certain ingredients. So much on these things, we don't realize the things that we do in our everyday life, the things that we do in our actions, it's having a big effect on our prayers. We're like, what is missing? Where are these missing ingredients? Where did they go? Why can't I find the pleasure in my prayer? Why can't I benefit from my prayer?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Before the break, I was speaking about the power of al-adhkar and reciting the morning and the evening adhkar, as the believers should not look at the adhkar as mere duties that we just have to fulfill it and that's it. No. As a matter of fact, reflecting on what you say makes you the happiest person on earth. If I ever miss the dua of Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan, I know why am I being upset. I know why do I feel sad. I know why do I have a problem, whether at home or in the bus, and in the car, in the traffic. It is seriously because of me. I'm missing some ingredients, as Sheikh McCarthy was just talking about the ingredients. Yes, you're missing some ingredients. You're not going to get the same test. Basically, you fulfill the components of the equation, wallahi, Allah definitely will deliver. And that's why I just remember the statement of the great Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, when he was saying that, what would my enemy think that they can hurt me with? He really gave them a very hard time. They gave up with him. Somebody who's not afraid of anything. They threw him in prison. He's still writing and authoring books and giving fatwa. He's such a great scholar. He's like an ocean of knowledge. So when they threw him by himself in a cell in the middle of nowhere, in a citadel in Damascus, he said, what do my enemy think that they can do to me? Indeed, my garden, my happiness is in my heart. Look at the difference between somebody's happiness which comes in his stomach versus somebody's happiness which is in the heart. Accordingly, the difference will shape the future and the behavior and the action of the individual. So he said, if my enemies, and by the way, those enemies happen to be Muslim rulers. It was the Muslim rulers who threw Ahmad ibn Hanbal in jail and Ibn al-Qayyim in prison. And Al-Imam Malik was tortured. You know who's Al-Imam Malik? Imam Ahl Sunnah, Imam al-Madinah. La yufta Malik fil Madinah. He was hung from his arms until they were paralyzed. Al-Imam Malik ibn Anas. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i was beaten up and thrown in prison. Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him. Al-Imam Abu Hanifa was thrown in prison. Then he was banned from speaking or teaching. He was banned from communicating or even attending the prayer in the masjid. He was put in home arrest. Why? Guess what? Because he refused to accept the position of the chief judge. Chief judge in a Muslim ummah? What an honor. He said, no, because I know these rulers are not just rulers. So they might ask me to put my stamp or seal to execute somebody or to kill somebody or to misjudge somebody. So I will be responsible for that. but it is not you, you're just an employee and you are the chief judge. He said no. He refused. The Imam, the Khalifa or the President, Abu Ja'far, forced him, he refused. So he was beaten up, he was thrown in prison. All these Imams have been mistreated mainly by some Muslim rulers. They do not necessarily mean that they were always bad, but they have some incidents, and these guys held fast on their deen for the sake of Allah. They did not mind being beaten up, thrown in prison, arrested, or being banned from teaching or giving the dars, or to the extent being executed. Sa'id ibn Jubayr, may Allah have mercy on him, one of the masters of At-Tabi'een, and that was so close to the life of the companions and the Prophet ﷺ just a few years after, during the Umayyad Khilafah, when Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqfi decided to execute him. He said, I'm going to replace your life with hell. He said, oh really? If I know that you control hell and heaven, I would have worshipped you instead of Allah. He said, I'm going to make your life miserable. I'm going to take your life. He said, well, if you do so, let me quote the beautiful phrase of somebody who's been threatened to be killed. Look at the courage. Look at the strength of Iman and the steadfastness. He said, إِذَنْ تُفْسِدُ عَلَيَّ دُنْيَاي وَأُفْسِدُ عَلَيْكَ آخِرَتَكَ. You're going to kill me? You're going to ruin my life? Well, you're going to ruin my life, but I'm going to ruin your hereafter. Which one is more dangerous? Which one is more everlasting? Are you going to take my life? You're not going to kill me missing a moment of my life. لِكُلِّ أَجَلٍ كِتَابٍ. I'm going to die on this time. No one is going to kill me or cause me to die before it. So if you're going to kill me because it's my term, so I will die. You ruin my life, but for sure, I would definitely ruin your akhirah. He said, choose for yourself a way to be killed. He said, rather you choose for yourself. Because whichever mean you kill me with in this life, I'm going to kill you with it in the hereafter before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He drove him crazy. Sa'id ibn Jubayr is arrested, is handcuffed. Perhaps they fasten his hands and feet as well, maybe his neck as well. And he's a great scholar, he's one of At-Tabi'een. But his heart is very powerful. His Iman is very strong. And that's why he feared not Al-Hajjaj. Al-Hajjaj was in control, was in power, he had everything. But he was afraid of Sa'id ibn Jubayr. Subhanallah. Then when he said, just execute him. He said, Ya Allah, do not let him kill anyone after me. And subhanallah, Allah answered the dua of Sa'id ibn Jubayr. May Allah be pleased with him. One of the leaders of At-Tabi'een, radiyallahu anhum. A few days later, Al-Hajjaj died. But until his death, he did not sleep for a single night. On every single occasion, whenever he's so tired, exhausted, so he goes to bed. Once he closes his eyes, Sa'id ibn Jubayr would appear to him and he will drag him from his feet. Sa'id is already dead, but he's alive with his Lord. But the dead are the coward ones, are those who are persecuting the living. And they think by killing the innocent people and the scholars and the courageous ones that they ruin their lives. Nay, wallahi, they did not ruin their lives. I swear to Allah, we envy them because they are in a better life. But the criminals, the perpetrators, the coward ones, even if they're rulers, even if they're presidents, kings or sultans or whoever, they're living in fear. And this is nothing compared to the actual treatment which begins soon after they meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they are being brought to account. Ibn Taymiyyah says, what are they going to do to me? Throw me in prison? Thank you so much, you're giving me some privacy. I can study and author. You're going to kick me out of my country, which is exile. Thank you. At least I have the opportunity to wander around and see other places and other countries. Siyaha, free tourism. You're going to kill me, which is worst come to worst. That is the worst case scenario, you think? No, wallahi, it is not. وَقَتْلِي شَهَادَةً. And even if you kill me, that is the beginning of the eternal life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Maria, but this time from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Maria, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Sheikh.
Naam, go ahead.
Please, Sheikh, like last Ramadan, not this one that passed a year ago, I missed some fastings. So So I was going to make up, but I became sick, and I had to drink lots of water. I started making up, but then I stopped, like, remaining 4 I didn't complete. Then I fasted. Then Ramadan came again, and I didn't finish making up. So after that, I realized that if I had, like, tried and took some nuts, I would have been able to make up. And I made up eventually. Is there any fault in what I did? Like, should I have forced myself before the Ramadan to finish?
Okay, Barakallah Fik. Thank you, Sister Maria from Nigeria. Basically, if any person missed any days in Ramadan, such as being sick or traveling, breastfeeding, or giving birth, or after giving birth, or due to the period, for whatever reason, they must make up those days. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Those number of days must be made up before the following Ramadan. Aisha radiallahu anha, and the hadith is collected by Imam al-Bukhari, said that I used to make up my missed days of Ramadan in Sha'ban of the next year. Yani a few days before the following Ramadan. But before the following Ramadan, you should make up those days. What about if I have an excuse, such as I was also sick, or I was still breastfeeding, or I didn't have a chance due to legitimate reasons? If it is so, then you still make up those days after the following Ramadan, and you're not blameworthy. You will be only blameworthy if out of laziness you did not make up those days. Now, if there was no valid excuse, the person was lazy, was negligent, and the next Ramadan has entered, and he or she did not make up the days of the previous Ramadan which they missed, the scholars have different opinions, 2 different opinions. Some scholars said, with no excuse, then they must make up those days, in addition to compensating for this sin by giving a fidya, feeding 1 miskin per each day. There is another group of scholars who said that is missing a reference or a proof. When I legislate and when I say you have to give a fidya, they must be supported with a reference. So accordingly, they said, we still abide by the original condition. Yes, the person will be committing a sin, they should seek forgiveness, but they are only required to fast only, to make up those days and not to give fidya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Fabia from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello?
Naam,
I cannot hear you, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum.
Go ahead, Sister Fabia, I hear you.
Okay, Sheikh, my question is, I would like to ask you to specify how many rakats are there in each salah, which can be offered completely.
For daily?
Okay.
For daily
And?
fard salah?
Yes, how many rakats are there in Fajr salah completely, in Zohar salah, in Asr salah?
Okay, barakallahu feek.
And Sheikh, one hand, and just to specify, how does it make 12 nafil rakats in a day?
Nafil, okay, I got your question. So basically you're asking about the fard versus the nafil number of rak'ahs. 17 rak'ahs is the total number of rak'ahs for the 5 daily prayers. 4 rak'ahs dhuhr, similarly, is Asr and Isha, versus 3 Maghrib and 2 Fajr. Total number is 17 rak'ahs. And the nawafil are divided into emphatic and non-emphatic. Emphatic means emphasized, highly recommended, that the Prophet ﷺ normally observed. If he missed them, maybe due to traveling or sickness, and occasionally, but in most cases, he used to observe them on a regular basis. That is called emphatic. Such as, in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ specified 12 rak'ahs. And those emphatic sunan, if you offer them on regular basis, on daily basis, Allah will build a house for you in heaven. The 12 rak'ahs are 4 before Dhuhr, 2 after Dhuhr, 2 after Maghrib, 2 after Isha, and 2 before Fajr. Now, with the non-emphatic sunan, non-emphatic also means not emphasized enough, which means that a Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to observe them occasionally, not as much as he used to observe السنن الرواتب or المؤكدة, the 12 rak'ahs which we talked about earlier, such as before Asr, there is a sunnah, before Maghrib, before Isha, okay, 4 before Asr, 2 before Maghrib, 2 before Isha. These are sunan, but not emphatic. They are not that much recommended. So the person who offers the nawafil, whether emphatic or non-emphatic, in addition to the night prayer, which is also nafila, the duha, which is also nafila, and the witr, which is also nafila, praying during the day between Maghrib and Isha, for instance, nafila, recommended, or mere sunnah, it is not something that you have to do. This is all great for the musalli. In what sense? Because it makes up and completes any deficiency or shortcoming that may have happened in the fard prayer. Barakallahu feekum. Sister Maria from Nigeria. Asma from Nigeria. Sister Asma said, can I shave the head of a baby during the aqiqah process with electric clipper or clippers, or should it be with a razor? When we say, this question is very important because also it answers the question of shaving versus trimming during tahallul in Umrah or Hajj. When we say shaving, it means shaving with a razor, with a shaving cream or without, but with a razor. So it does not leave anything on the surface. Whether we're talking about the baby for now, for the aqiqah, okay? But using the clippers would clip the hair, but would leave some. So this is not shaving. It has been proven that shaving the baby head would be very healthy as regards to changing the hair which grew up in the belly of his, or in the uterus actually, in the womb, and will be replaced with a better hair and so on, stronger and healthier. And this is the sunnah, so if you skip it, no big deal, but you just miss the sunnah. The highly emphatic sunnah is the aqiqah itself. Nadia Yasser, Sister Nadia says, is it permissible to visit a male medical doctor whenever it is necessary? When you exhaust all the means, when you look for a female doctor and you couldn't find, then it is a must to be treated. If it is only a male doctor, it is permissible whenever it's necessary. Make sure that you have either your husband or any of your maharim with you, and whenever the doctor is ready to check on you, the only body part which should be exposed is wherever he's checking on. Okay? I'm saying this because some people think it is absolutely for the physician to see me in the nude. Of course not. Says who? You know, in my hospital in the States, whenever I walked in and I saw some Muslim sisters, they're wearing hijab and everything, but they're moving them from a room to another and wearing a gown, and most of their body is showing because it's just something very simple and loose. So we require that every Muslim intern or being admitted to the hospital to know their rights, and with a hospital administration we formed an ethical committee to teach doctors and nurses that as far as for Muslims, many Muslims would come from the Gulf to be treated there, and they pay a lot of money, so they have to know their rights. Wallahi, they used to eat haram food because they don't know. They think the hospital knows that they're Muslims. They wouldn't pay attention to it because simply nobody has informed them. So if we can generalize this, then every person know the adab of visiting the doctor or going to a hospital. If the hospital or the doctor himself does not know, because sometimes the doctor says, I've seen that million times, so what is the big deal? The big deal is awra is awra. I don't care that you yourself become numb, but it is the right of Allah, not just yourself, so it must be observed. We come to the end of today's edition of Ask Huda. Until next time, brothers and sisters, I leave you in the care of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance